everyone.
Welcome to I Created a Life I Love. We're here. We're ready. My name is Kristine Spindler Denton,
And I am Jeanette Rodriguez.
and we're here. We're ready. We're ready to roll this week, getting some energy going here. So we are on to a whole new topic for this month, which I'm really excited about. I think there's a lot of ways to explore this. So we're going to look at some and get I can't wait to hear your stories and your feedback. So, although as we know, I publicly do not like comments on other people's stuff, I love hearing people's stories. So that's very different when you're talking about yourself and your journey. So we are definitely asking you to share that. So please make sure. I just want to post this out there because we haven't said it in a while, but we are talking to different people about their journeys and people we can possibly have on the podcast, talking about how they're out there creating a life that they love and hearing their stories. So we're going to try and add those in when we can and when we can line it up to interview people and bring them onto the podcast. So, but also please just email us because we also can read your story and share your story on air. If we're not able to fully podcast with you, we can at least share your email and your story of how you are finding more joy, you're on your joy journey and creating a life that, brings you that joy. And our email is I created a life I love at gmail.com. And that's, I created a life I love is all our social media, and .com is our website. So please email us and tell us about what's going on with you. And our topic this month is bravery. So we really invite these stories of bravery because as I did say last week, that I feel that bravery has to be, looked into more by everyone because I think it is important to see yourself as brave. I do. I think it's important as an empowerment factor to be able to say, I'm brave. So, I think we kind of have to redefine it and make sure we're not looking at it in just, things that we heard in fantasy childhood stories of heroes and bravery. I think that's not what we're looking at. And I don't think that should be where our definition stops. So, please send us stories of you being brave and, facing your fear, which is the part we're going to focus on today. When you have done that and how it turned out and how it has made your life better when you've done that. So that's our call out. And that's our topic for today, facing your fear. But before we get there, Jeanette, what's up?
Facing my fears, huh? Facing my fears of my family coming over. Yeah.
There you go.
Well, they came
Okay.
and
Nice.
we survived that one day, which was amazing. And they enjoyed themselves so much. It was just so exciting to have everybody over here. I was a little fearful of like, oh my God, like, are they gonna like the place? Are they gonna be comfortable? Are they gonna, just all the different things that I was thinking as that led up to them coming here to come visit. And it was great. It was amazing. So I faced my fears of hosting a lot of people and a lot of people spending the night. And I was actually more prepared than I thought. And that is why people, if you are getting married, if you're in that stage of getting married, you got to ask for those supplies. Um,
Ah,
in your wedding registry. So,
there
like
we go.
towels, anything related to home stuff, you know, definitely put that on your wedding registry because I can't tell you, like, I had a lot of things that I had on my wedding registry that I didn't think I needed, but you do. You definitely do. So, it was great. It was great.
The one, I have to say, yay for you. That is a huge amount. I've done that once or twice in my life when my family has come for Thanksgiving or something and had like my brother's family, there's 5 of them, and then parents, that's another 2, so you're up to 7, right? And then our family, at that time was 4. And so it was a lot of people and a not huge house. So it is definitely a challenge to stay out of each other's way and to just keep the food coming. Even if you only did it for, I did it for 2 full days, but even if you're doing it for 1 full day, it's just a lot and you feel that pressure. So I am very happy for you that yay, everything went
Yay.
well. Um, and that because I know you were stressed out about it, which is understandable. Some people can have people over and they're not stressed. It's just easy, whatever. But most people, I think, do feel stressed, even if it's people that are going to go with the flow and they're not real picky or crazy, but it's still just stressful. It just is. And so I'm very proud of you because I know you were stressed out and I'm glad it turned out well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Along with your registry factor, though, my registry where I was registered, you want to hear this?
Oh, yes, please.
I was registered at, I can't remember the name of it now, but it's a boat place. For boat supplies. It was like a Boat USA, like, I can't think of the name of the particular store, but it's a boat supply store, and because my ex-husband now, but my husband and I at that time when we were getting married, we were planning a trip to sail from
Yeah,
California to, Hawaii, and we sailed, which took 28 days. So we were on the boat together, a 30-foot boat, Catalina, for 30, for 28 days. So all of our items, because we had to rebuild the boat and get the boat ready for that. And so our boat registry was for boat supplies as we were putting the boat together so it was safe to be able to sail to Hawaii. So I got none of those things, let me point out. This was decades and decades ago, right? But I got
aw,
none of those things that you needed for your house. My mom was so pissed and God love her. But so she was so mad that this is what I was doing. And we got married on a sailboat as well. But that that this is what I was doing and that I didn't have a normal registry. She ignored it completely and even got a couple of my aunts to ignore it completely and bought me like all of this like they had a whole little private boycott, which I thought was just hysterical. Again, I didn't get mad about it at all because I think everyone needs to do what they want to do and it
yeah,
might not align with what you want, but again, it could turn out for the better, and it did because she bought me all this amazing cookware, like a full, huge cookware set that was hundreds and hundreds of dollars that they went in together and, did as my gift, and I still have that cookware today, and that's what,
that's
how many
awesome.
years, like 35 years later or something, like, it's crazy, and it's still
Uh-huh,
wonderful, wonderful cookware, and I use it all the time. So,
uh-huh.
look, that's happened. So, I am not the person to come to advice to on anything wedding, but, there you go. So, listen to Jeanette and get those sure, but yes. But we made it to Hawaii safely, 28 days. It was an amazing voyage, but that's a story for another time. Or maybe not, because our topic is being brave, and trust me, I was I was scared to death to sail, like, that first day when you get up and you look around the boat, right, and you see nothing but water. You do not see land in any way, shape, or form, and then that first night when it's pitch dark and you're taking turns, you know what I mean, staying up with the boat and making sure you're because we did have a piloting type device, but still it was this was decades ago. What they have nowadays is amazing, and we did have a kinda autopilot type thing, but it wasn't something that you could just leave, for forever and do, so you did have to wake up every so often and check on it, and so we would take turns who had to do that every night. So one person could get a full night's sleep without getting up and checking, and then the other one would sleep and then get up and check and up and check. And, but the first time it's completely pitch black um,
Yeah,
in the middle of the oceans and the star in the middle of the ocean, sorry, and all the stars and it's just incredible. And there's no land to be seen anywhere on the horizon. It's a very eerie feeling. It is, I will tell you that. But I loved it. I did not think I would love it. I was born in California, but I grew up in Minnesota. And so I've been on the water my whole life and loved the water my whole life, and skied and swam and sailed and everything. But, lakes, even the larger lakes, man, they're lakes. There's land somewhere. But being out on that ocean, it was a very interesting adventure. It definitely challenged all of my fears and concerns about safety, and just what if and what if. And we had some close calls. We had some storms. We had some run in with whales. Like, we had a lot of interesting things that happened that got you going. But I will tell you, that feeling of accomplishment when you see land over, the first day you see land after you've been out on the ocean, and like, oh my God, we did this. Like, we made it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just the most amazing, empowering feeling ever. It really,
Mhm.
it's an incredible feeling. So that kind of segues, I guess, us right into facing your fears. Yeah. What are your thoughts first before, I go off? Like, what are your thoughts about facing your fears and being brave, or definition of bravery? And, are you good at it, bad at it? What do you think?
Well, it's me. I'm a work in progress. So, I think it's definitely a part of growth, facing your fears, because being fearful is a response that we have. If you want to talk about, like, why we are so fearful, is because, scientifically we were fearful of predators that were out there and we had to protect ourselves. So that was like a human response, that was useful, right? And now people having fears can be intense because they could be fearful of everything, right? So for me, I think, and I've said this before in previous podcasts, that the older I get, the more fearful I become, which is strange. And I don't understand why, because I was so, like, able to just do things and just be like quick to not even think about some of my choices and just go for it.
Right.
So like, yeah, exactly, like skydiving, hiking, doing this, doing that, you know, um
Yeah, because you've done some very brave stuff, like skydiving. I don't know if that's something I would do. I've done bungee
yeah.
jumping, but again, so I don't know if that's something I would do. But so I'm surprised that you feel you're getting more so, because you're 20
Mhm.
years younger than me. So it's very interesting to see the difference. So I'll tell you, like,
Yeah.
yeah, my part of that. But yeah, so go on. So that's interesting. You feel you're getting more fearful about everything.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it's like physical stuff, it's more like fearful of heights that I randomly started having.
Oh,
Uh, yeah, and then fearful, like, as far as social situations, it's more fearful of difficult conversations with people, in
okay.
saying the wrong thing, or, maybe a facial expression that I have, and trying to, especially in the professional setting, sometimes you're
Yeah.
like, did my face just do that, or is it in my mind? So,
That would
or
be if
even
I
just,
had that fear, we're in a lot of trouble. I wouldn't leave the house.
I know, I know. And so what I found very helpful for me is to have those mental chats with myself ahead of time. Like,
Okay.
if I'm having those difficult conversations, or even if I'm going to, out and hiking, and I have a fear of heights, have that chat with myself and give myself examples of where I was successful when I did have those difficult conversations, or when I experienced the heights situation. So that definitely has helped me with, facing my fears,
Yeah.
um, because like we said in the previous podcast, like, judging the situation, of, oh my god, I'm gonna fail, or oh my god, I'm gonna fall. If you It's training your brain and having that mental thought of, like, okay, no, you have been successful in X, Y, and Z, you can do it.
Right.
So, and I will tell you this. in facing my fears. And I do it every year, and I still haven't really been successful in getting chosen, but I apply for hiking Mount Whitney every year for I swear, for the past 9 years. I must be doing something wrong, but I've always applied for a permit to go do it, and I never get selected. But I have heard that people just show up to see if there's any permits available because cancellations and stuff. And
Okay.
then they go, yeah, they're able to do the hiking. So,
So that must be something that's happened in the last couple of decades that it's gotten that well, everything's gotten so busy now, but that it's gotten that popular that
yeah, oh my God,
you can't get a
everything.
permit. That sucks. That's
I
a hard
know.
climb.
Yeah, yeah. And so, it's something that I've been wanting to do to face that fear of heights.
Ew.
Difficult conversations would happen all the time at work. So I would always have to have that mental chat with myself, as far as like how I'm going to approach talking to somebody, and especially difficult conversations with people that are higher positions than you, I guess. I
Oh,
would
okay.
always be like, "Oh, I have to talk to this person. Oh no." So, having that fear kind of sets you up for failure too. Like, as far as if you feed into the fear.
Okay.
Yeah. So, facing your fears is huge in, growth. It is so big. What about you, Christine?
Well, I think I would say to all the 30-year-olds out there, and maybe this is just me. So, again, I can only speak from my unique experience, as we all should. So, Gen Xers out there, jump on in and share your thoughts. Email us or, jump on the comments that I won't read, but someone will. Then tell us your thoughts. But my thoughts are to all the 30-year-olds out there, you start to not give a shit. Like, in my 50s, I don't give a shit. I don't what anyone thinks. So any of those type of fears, I feel go away. Now there are other fears, and I get your point, so I'll talk about those in a second, but your first point to having any fears about what someone's gonna think and, like, if my facial expression's wrong, like, obviously, I'm on this journey to create a life I love, and part of that journey is to be kind and loving and open to all people and embracing all people on their own unique journey. So I don't want to make anyone feel bad. I don't want to judge somebody else. I don't, any of those type of things I'm trying to give up and move away from in my growth. But as far as other people judging me or as far as other people, having thought and maybe not liking me, I could give a shit. Like, don't care. Don't care if they're offended by something I say. Don't care if they feel like I've overstepped. No, no, do not care. That's a them issue, not a me issue. And I honestly, that happens in your 50s, I think. For most people, I think the older you get, the more you realize. And I think people who have been through like a diagnosis like cancer or some type of, life changing situation, you realize you only have so much time on my planet, and I'm not spending 1 second of it, not 1 second of it, worrying about what someone else thinks about me. Not one
Yeah.
second. There are plenty of things for me to worry about, like how my kids feel about me and my family members, and making sure I'm supporting people and I'm being the best I can be. All of those positive things I'm all over. But yeah, so I can say to you, I think I felt that way in my 30s. It's hard to always put yourself back in time, right? But I think I had body issues, which now with scars and everything happening, I just laugh at
Yeah.
because, my body will never be the same now. But and so all that time I spent not liking my body or not accepting my body and all of that, it just makes me, it doesn't even make me sad. It just makes me laugh because it's like it was just wasted time. So I definitely had that in my 20s and 30s. And even after my kids, like, it's so expected for, mothers to get back in shape so quickly to the body they are. And, oh, you look so good since, it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. Take your time to get over having a child and love your body. But it's easier said than done. But I can tell you as you get older, you let go of a lot of that, a lot,
Yeah.
all of that kind of stuff, which I think is harder to let go of when you're younger. And I think that is an advantage of age is you let go of what you people think about you and you let go of your judgment on yourself, I feel, at least I have, as far as your body and the things you didn't like about yourself, whatever it might be with your personality or physically, and you let go of that. So that
Yeah.
part I can say to you, I think gets better. The fears, I think it is something you have to fight against as you get older to not make your world smaller. I think I see
Mhm.
2 types of very distinctly different people, and again, I'd love to hear other Gen Xers' thoughts, but that you open up and you're watching the new generations come and you're interested in what they're doing. You're not judging them because we all know what it was like to be young and stupid. And and it's okay. And you should be because you're supposed to be trying everything out and new. And it's not even stupid. It's just exploring and doing your best in the moment. So you either are looking at all those new generations and new things to come and you're open to it, doesn't mean it has to change who you are. Like, I don't jump on every trend. There's always all these trends out there saying, oh, to not look your age or to look younger, you have to do this, this, and in because these are the new trends. I don't have to follow any of that shit. But I do like listening and seeing what everyone else is doing now. It's fun. It's interesting to see what the trends are out there or what perspective different generations are taking and how they're doing it different than we're doing it. And if you can be objective with that and open to all of it and see the possibilities and the good that can come from it, I think it's really fun to get older and watch it all happen. I also see the other side of people getting older where their world gets smaller and they only want to talk about the past. And I love listening to my past music and old books and dancing to old things like that and all of that, but that can't be your whole life. And I do see some people where their world gets smaller and they make that their whole life, looking back, only talk to old friends, don't, have nothing good to say about anything new that's happening or next generations coming up. And that comes with fear. And I do see them more fearful to then try new things, to do things. So I think you have those 2 groups.
Yeah.
And if you're in the first group, I think you're willing to try and to look at fear and to try and, do something about it. Like I said, I went bungee jumping it's probably about 10 years ago now, 9 years ago, and that was definitely not something that I ever thought I would do. I have always had this net didn't come on early, but I've always had a fear of heights. I am fine being up high as long as I don't have to be on the edge. It's that feeling on the edge of looking and looking down. My thing with fears is I ask why. If it's a fear that is stopping me from making my life better, I'm going to face it and deal with it. I'm going to force myself to face it and deal with it. That's going to be my act of bravery, which is what I think facing fears is. I think getting up every day and well, we'll get into the definition of bravery, I think, because I think we don't give it a correct definition. But staying with fears, I if it's a fear that I don't is not holding me back, I don't know that we have to overcome every single fear we have. I think we can look at it honestly if we know why we have it and if we can understand, what's behind it, where it maybe came from, do some digging, talk about it with someone in therapy or self-analyze however whatever works for you, but really look at it. Then I think that I don't think it's necessary to change every part of yourself in that type of way just to be considered brave. So like my fear with heights like that, it's never been something that's stopped me. Do you know what I mean? There's never been anything I've wanted to do. And if there was something like San Gabriel Mountain or climbing that, or sometimes there's been some hikes I've gone on with friends that are really clear. Then I face it. Then I am like, okay, but it's not going to be forever. You don't have to stand on the edge and stare down. Like just do the
Mhm.
walk, keep your eyes ahead and move on and do it. And then I will put myself in those positions to force myself because it is something that I've analyzed and said, is this something I really want to do with my friends? And it was like, yes, I would love to go on this weekend and do this, although there
Yeah.
will be some cliff situations there. So I'm going to have to face it here. I'm going to have to deal with it. What words am I going to say to myself? How am I going to handle it? And then you know what I mean? And I did. Sometimes you can do it like that. Other bigger fears, take more time to really look at and face and get to the root of where it's coming from. And you need to do that work, I feel. So if it's holding you back and if it's stopping you from doing something that you think will bring joy into your life and help you create, a better life, then I think you got to face it. I do.
Looking back at the conversations that I have with my family members, especially the elderly, and just how they do focus on like the before times. And I'm like, let's still do things. You're still alive. Let's go places. I know you can do it. But I think it's fear for them too of being able to physically do things, or and I'm like, come on, we got this. We're here for you. But it's their journey, and I can't force them through their journey,
Yeah.
but I can encourage them if they
Well,
do decide to do it. Yeah.
yeah, you absolutely can, and give them the opportunities to say yes to and to be with someone who they love and trust, right? To go do it. And I
Yeah.
think that's really, really important. I think like we're trying to put together like a little mini reunion with some of our college friends. And that was one of the first things that I said, and a couple of us agreed on immediately. We don't want to just go someplace and talk about the past and what it was like in college. Like, let's go somewhere where we can create new memories
Yes.
with us. Like, and so it's fun for a college reunion to go back on campus and to be there and to see all your old places that you haunted, see your old dorm rooms, all of those places that you went with your friends and have those memories and create a new memory with them in that place. Not knocking it whatsoever. It's fine. But it's also cool to take those people that you have memories with from the past and do something new and create new memories instead of living in that past. And as I said, it is hard as you get older. It's not hard, I shouldn't say that, but it is a challenge that you can get caught up in only talking about what happened in the past, and do you remember this and how great that was, and all of that. It is, and I think that's a normal part of aging. I don't think there's anything wrong with anyone doing that. I think it's a normal part of aging to reminisce about great times that you've had in this life, and that's cool. I think it's great to have those memories, but if you only are living in those memories, that to me is where you're missing out. And again, it takes you back to you're not in the present moment, right? The only place you can find joy and create a life you love moving forward is if you're living in that present moment. If you are
Yeah.
aware of what's going on right now, and if you are living to the best of your ability and with your purpose, your unique life in this moment. And my girlfriend said, she goes, well, yeah, she goes, when I'm, because we're in our 50s, and she's like, well, yeah, when I'm in my 90s, I want to remember just my 20s. I want to remember my 50s. She's like, 40 years from now, she goes, I can't stop creating cool, great memories for myself. She goes, yeah, when I'm 90 and I'm really probably not moving around, right, at all or that much, depend. I don't know. There's a lot of 90-year-olds out there nowadays doing great things. But she's like, you she goes, I want memories from my 50s. I want memories from every decade. My issue is with when we're looking at facing fears is I think we need to just change the word bravery from a very young age. And as an educator, you and I have talked about this, that letting, because it's an empowering word. I just feel that saying you're brave and adding that to the list of your assets as a person is really important, because it does empower you, especially for women and for kids. Like saying that you're brave because you deal with this, this, and this, saying that you're brave because you get up every day and go to school and walk into that math class, even though you are struggling your ass off to understand math. Like you're getting a poor grade, you don't get it, you feel frustrated, you've tried to communicate to your teacher, it's not working. We've all had students like this that have a subject that they really struggle with, but they get up every morning and they come to school. And you know, again, they have to, and their parents tell them to. But we have a lot of kids, and Jeanette and I worked in a very have worked in very challenging areas economically, and there are a lot of parents that are not there. Those kids could be skipping. Those kids
Yeah.
could be not putting in any effort whatsoever, but they're still going. They're still trying. They're still writing down directions. They're still trying to figure out what you're teaching them to do, even though they may be lost. That's an act of bravery. That's a huge act of bravery. And I just think that we think bravery should only be this big, I don't know, highfalutin. I don't know what words to even use to describe how that word is used in our society, but it shouldn't be used that way. That's all I
Yeah.
can say. Like, I think getting up every day when you're going through a horrid divorce or a difficult divorce, or you've become a single parent and you don't know how you're gonna pay the bills, or your heart is broken and you've just been through a bad relationship, or you're dealing with a disease, or you're struggling with anxiety or depression, and you're getting up every day and saying, I'm not going to let it beat me today. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to go to therapy. I'm going to talk to someone. I'm going to give everything I can give, and I'm going to take care of myself today. All of those daily things are an act of bravery. There are days on this planet that people are in that it is not easy to go through. It is not
Yeah.
easy to get out of bed that day. And that is an act of bravery. And I think people need to acknowledge it more. I think we need to acknowledge it more as a society, and we need in our own personal lives celebrate those moments. I mean, a couple of days after one of my surgeries, I like how I felt that day, was nothing short of like the worst I felt on this planet. And I got up. I got up, I did my, like, maybe it was only 10 steps I could take that day, but I got up, I did those 10 steps, and those were days of bravery. Those were
Yeah.
acts of bravery,
Yeah.
and I've written them down. I've done things to make me remember those, and those were as much days of bravery as it was crossing the ocean in a, you know what I mean, in a sailboat for 28 days. And I that's that's what I think that I want people to know. I want people to recognize in their own lives when they are having those days of bravery, when they don't feel like it, when they don't know what's coming. Those are days of bravery, and you need to tell yourself that. You need to celebrate that. You need to pat yourself on the back on those days, record them somehow, write them down. I've recorded the days like that. It's been really, really hard for me because I want to remember on days that might not be as bad as those, hey, you've been through worse than this and you've made it
Yeah.
and you showed up and you did it. You can do this. Like, it just empowers you so much. As I was saying with the sailing, it just empowers you so much that you can do tough things. Like, right? You can do hard things. Yeah. And so that's our challenge today, people. Celebrate yourself. Celebrate your brave moments. Write them down, record them somewhere, stick them up on your mirror. So to keep you motivated and to celebrate those hard moments. You deserve it.
All right. For a moment of joy.
Mine would be I'm gonna put, since we're talking about facing fears, that I did do like the whole bungee jumping thing. I did it backwards because, again, as we said, I can't stand the looking forward. So ours was off of, I think the bridge to nowhere, I guess is what it's called in California.
Oh.
And, so I did it where you hold on to the bridge, so you jump off of the bridge into the canyon, and you could either face down and there, but I said no. Like, again, not a fear I needed to face. Like, I didn't have to do it that way, but I jumped backwards. So I was looking at the guy, and then he said, "Okay, go," and then I just jumped backwards. And, it was amazing. It was an amazing, amazing feeling when you hit that point that's past the point you normally would jump, right? Like, we all have an idea of when you jump of hitting land, right? But when you jump and you just keep going, and your body and your head realizes that, wait, you're still going, you're still falling.
Yeah.
That's such an amazing feeling. That I would love to hear what other people who have done something like that felt, and maybe you did when you jumped out of your plane. Like, that falling feeling when you've gone past the point of where you would normally stop falling in your life. You've never fallen this much before. was such a weird feeling in my head and my body that I've never forgotten it, and it was very cool. It was also my oldest daughter. My younger one was all for it. She'd been jumping off of things since she could move, but my oldest daughter was not thrilled with the idea, and she was so brave that day. She fully embraced her fear and did it too, which I thought was amazing, as a very young girl, so I was very proud of her. So that's my moment of joy that I'm sharing. How about you?
So my moment of joy is actually going on a hike with my family and all of my cousins and even my dad. So we went on
Right?
a hike in Mono County, I believe, and there's this hike that goes up to the lakes in the far back past a certain peak of one of the mountains. It's just crazy how many lakes exist in the Sierra Nevadas. It's insane. So we went to just the first lake, and it's actually motivated me to go beyond that. So I every year I'm always telling myself like, okay, let's go further up.
Yeah.
In the weather sometimes doesn't work out, and this year we have incredible amount of snow, so I don't think I'll probably be able to do it this year either. But um and being able to face that fear of heights and look out, into the valley of just seeing it from a completely different perspective, and
Yeah.
it was just beyond beautiful. It's just so peaceful, and it just brings you to a different world, and you hardly run into anybody, and it's you in nature literally, and it's just crazy, it's insane, so beautiful, and I was very proud of my dad that he did it.
Very
Yeah.
cool. All right. Well, we have our Monday Minute. So don't forget about our Monday Minute. This week, I'm encouraging you to be brave. Again, it's in our shorts videos at YouTube. So go to our YouTube channel at I Created a Life I Love, and you can listen to those. They're really great to take a break at any time throughout your day and refocus yourself, get yourself back on your intention and a positive, a good place and space that you're coming from. So go to our Monday minutes. And then, oh, I have one of our other cups. People are asking about traveling mug cups. This is a little traveling one that we have with our I Created a Life I Love logo. So you can get those on Etsy. And then what are we going to next week? We're still talking about bravery. Yes? Is that what we're
Yes,
doing?
so
Yeah.
next week's topic is strengthening mental toughness.
Ah, okay. So how to help you face those fears.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Get mind over matter. This will be interesting.
All right, everyone, thank you so much for listening to us this week.
All right, go out and have a great week, everybody. Bye.
Bye.